Scarpins Avenue.
Coming to you live from our houses in Los Angeles, California, it's Nobody Listens to Paula Poundstone, your comedy field guide to life. Tonight, get lost. Are you directionally challenged? Do you find yourself trying to figure out which way is up, or north, or south? Dr. Giuseppe Iaria, a pioneering researcher in the field of developmental topographical disorientation, is here to tell us why some people get lost all the time and how they can find their way home. Plus, Tony Anita Hull opens up the listener mailbag. One nobody wrote, I feel bad for Adam Felber. I mean, he has to sit quiet while Paula goes down crazy rants. He has to go through the stupid 100th caller contest. There's a lady who wants to sext him. Someone needs to rescue Adam from Paula. Hey, if you're listening out there, I'm being held here against my will. If you get this message before Paula gets on the line, please alert. Oh, here she is. Our show is starting. Great to be here. I'm Adam Felber, the man who tries to navigate our discussion through waves of irrelevancy and keep us headed for the North Star of coherency. And now, please welcome the woman who may or may not have topographical disorientation, but who definitely has topical disorientation, Paula Poundstone! Hey, Paula!
Hey, you guys! Hey, and thanks so much to tonight's house band, Nobody, Matt Evans from Goleta, California, on the electric guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Adam.
Yes?
You know, I've been having some problems this week because you remember the pod puppy?
Yeah, Mo.
Yeah, Mo, my pod puppy. Well, she's a giant
Part golden
dog
retriever
now.
and part Newfoundland.
Exactly. She's big and well, headstrong. And she's been doing a lot of pranks. Like, for example, she has been sending me emails saying that I'm doing Zoom shows for charities, organizations I never even heard of.
Now, what makes you think that's the doings of the pod puppy?
She's just been doing stuff. Like, okay, like even now, Mo, no. Okay.
What is she doing?
You know how I
What is she
sit
doing?
on the, on the treadmill? Don't push that button. No. Ah!
Did she just turn on the treadmill,
Yeah.
Paula?
Yeah. Bad
Paula,
dog.
are you okay?
Bad dog.
Yeah,
bad dog.
that's bad dog material. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I'm so
that's
sorry,
why
Paula.
I know she'll flick the lights off when I'm walking through the kitchen, and she just does
Jesus.
stuff now. Yeah, it's
Wow.
weird. I gotta get that lady we had on that knew the inside of the dog brain.
Yes.
She knew this dog is outside the she didn't know anything about this dog. She was totally
Yeah, this
on
dog
this
is
dog's
way off the curve, I think.
Yeah, exactly. You got to do stuff different. Oh my God, that really hurt my
Are you
back.
okay?
I think
Yeah.
I'll be all right. Hey, Adam, I wanted to say that we are still having the 100th caller contest.
Oh, really? I was pretty sure that was over.
No, I believe it's been referred to as the stupid 100th caller contest. We are continuing the stupid 100th caller contest. So keep the calls coming, you guys. Our 100th caller will receive any appliance from Roger Federer's appliance store for free and a chance to hang out with the very willing Adam Felber after the game.
Very willy?
Willing, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I didn't
very willing.
I didn't lean on my ing. Yeah, very willing
That's
Adam
okay.
Felber.
That's debatable. I think I've made my position on this clear many a time. There are several candidates that I would rather didn't win the 100th caller contest.
So keep calling, you guys, because whoever wins, Adam is happy
Okay.
to join you after the
Okay.
game.
Great.
You know, the other
Yeah.
thing, Adam, that I did this week was I had to get a...
I'm just going to rip up my agenda then, shall I, Paula?
Go ahead. I had to get a COVID-19 test. And,
Oh, you did?
And
Why?
I was so worried. I had this idea in my head that the swab was going to be to swabs what a magician's scarf is to scarves. You know, I just had this idea that it was just going to keep going and going and going and like come out the backside of my head. But you know what? It was no big deal. It was 10 seconds. The guy counted it down. And I must have like really big nasal passages.
Okay.
And I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but I think it's because, all right, when I was a kid for heaven's sakes. When I was a kid, I shoved a piece of candy up my nose.
As
remember
kids
the
do.
kind of, say that again?
As kids do. My sister did that with a green pea. I would remember being in the doctor's office with her when that was discovered.
Yeah, well, I was never worked on by a professional. So it was the kind that comes in the necklace and you bite the pieces off. And we were going to West Virginia to see my grandparents on my father's side. And I shoved this candy up my nose because it seemed like a good idea. I was, a freshman in high school maybe? And
Wait, what?
I was a kid. It seemed like
a freshman in high school, did you just say? Because my sister did this when she was 2.
Oh, my gosh. Well, I let me tell you, I never would have put a pea up my nose. What's the matter with her?
Okay.
No, I was a little kid. I'm kidding.
Okay.
So, all right, so I shoved this candy up my nose, and any number of non-professionals eventually worked at getting it out. And I think it's created like larger nasal passages, maybe, or at least because this nurse, I went to one of the drive-through ones, and this nurse, you could tell that he knew that I had at one time shoved a candy up my nose because when he was putting the swab in, as I say, he was counting. He was like 1, 2, and then he went like, who can take the sunrise, dip it in some dew.
That's very unprofessional behavior.
Cover it with chocolate and a miracle or two.
The COVID-19. The COVID-19.
Yeah,
The
so I think he knew.
COVID-19. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think there's a type of person that's done that when they were a kid. And the pea people were in a different line altogether, so I didn't bump into your sister. But yeah, that's just weird.
I really don't think that's
Who
the
would do
thing.
that? I knew a kid who put a pea in his ear once, but you don't shove a pea up your nose. What?
I think you're thinking about Captain Crinkle Bonnie Burns putting an earbud in her ear.
Well, everyone puts earbuds in their ears.
But losing it, yeah.
What she did was forget to take it out.
That's
and as I
absolutely right.
told you, that happened to me as well. At first I was judgmental, and then it happened to me, and I understood how it could happen. I mean,
You walked a mile in her shoes.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is apparently more than she's done during this entire quarantine. And on that subject, let's go around the horn and...
What did you say? Oh my God!
Yeah, we're gonna go around the horn.
Is
I'm gonna change things up. Let's start with Captain Crinkle. Captain Crinkle, Bonnie Burns, Paula's manager, our producer. How the heck are you?
Well, I'm good.
Ugh.
Listen to the attitudes. When I was growing up, I used to watch, Carol Burnett, and I watched the Tonight Show, and never did Carol Burnett say, we welcome our guest, Tim Conway, and Tim Conway would never go like, oh.
Well,
Yeah. It's the worst way to be a guest.
Or Ed McMahon say, here's Johnny, and Johnny go, oh, Jesus.
Oh, come on, Ed.
yeah, well,
I don't understand. It's a bad attitude.
well, because sometimes when I come here and I know we're going to do the podcast, I come here to the phone in my bedroom where we won't be able to hear pop and crackle or whatever you call them. I kind of have an idea what I'm going to say, but I really have no idea what I'm going to say today. I did go out on the lawn furniture this week, the expensive lawn furniture.
So you went, let me get this straight. You went all the way downstairs, walked out your back door, and sat on that incredibly expensive lawn furniture that you got through Beazle or something.com.
Yeah, where I sprung for the $70 pillows and the one that's shaped
Wow.
like the corner so that it really fits in there snugly. And, okay, this
When
is
you went-
embarrassing.
When you went outside to the lawn furniture, was the time change difficult for you?
No, but part of the reason for
It's so weird. I'm still on bedroom time.
Part of the reason for going out and sitting on the lawn furniture is so my dogs won't pester me to play with them inside. Like if they're out there, they can't really like bring the ball and all of that.
All right. As an
What do you mean?
astute listener, we cut you off just when you said, and the embarrassing thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
I had second thoughts about telling that story. I decided,
No, I want to go.
soon as
I
you
want to go
said,
right
I
there.
decided to go to a really more embarrassing story.
No. Let's
I
hear
could
the
go to
embarrassing
this one. It's worse.
No, when
Yes.
you were about to say I had second thoughts and you got as far as I had said, I expected the worst.
Yeah. This one. Okay, this one
Thank
was
you,
for
Tony.
a while ago. I had a different
Okay.
dog. Okay. So I think I must have been, I worked a lot then. It was before I was in management when I was still a producer. So I used to get home from work. I was really, really tired. And I had a Basset Hound dog. And I used to drive a Jaguar XK. I'm not bragging, but I'm just giving you the idea of that it
No,
was.
you're bragging.
No, I'm not
was-
bragging.
That was before she was a manager.
Right.
Yeah,
Now she has-
exactly. Okay, so it wasn't
Now
that
she has
big
an
of a car.
empty Sun-made raisin box with wheels.
and it had a convertible top, okay? And I lived up in Laurel Canyon, and there
Who
were
would
like
think
these...
that's bragging?
No, I'm saying because it's part of the story. Okay.
Okay.
Lived in
I don't
Laurel
know why we're
Canyon,
telling
she had
this
a
story, but I
convertible
love that
Jag. That's not bragging.
You're I'm driving my convertible Jag in Laurel Canyon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So
Okay,
there
and
were,
so you
like-
and Joni Mitchell were going where?
Right, there was that whole group of singing people up there. So there were these dirt, kind of like trail paths up there where there wouldn't be traffic. And I used to get in the Jag, take the Basset Hound, I'd start the car up, put him behind the car, start driving, and the dog would run behind the car chasing me. And that's how I took him for a walk.
You would walk your dog by having him chase your Jag up and down Laurel Canyon?
No, on the dirt paths so that he wouldn't be in danger of another car coming.
Good thinking. And the other runners wouldn't worry at all about the Jag with the Basset Hound chasing it.
I don't
Ripping
know.
up the dust.
I thought you guys would think it was funnier.
Funnier than what?
No, it's a great story.
All right. I don't see how that story is the answer to the question, what's new, Bonnie?
Well, no, I had to have something to tell you.
I see. So what's new with Bonnie is she's been reminiscing a lot.
About how she used to walk her dog by getting in her Jag and driving around.
Wow.
No, I did want to say
let me
one
just
other
say,
thing.
that's
What?
a different
Yeah.
Bonnie Burns. Then apparently being a manager came into her life, and she dropped the mirrored shades and.
Yeah. No,
And a
I was
Jag.
doing a rock and roll show then. You're right. I was definitely,
You were a different kind of person.
I was working with the Allman Brothers and, Billy Joel, and I had a
Wow.
different kind of, what's her name? The Eagles when they were still together.
Yeah, the Eagles.
Okay, wait, that reminds me.
Wait a minute.
This is worth telling, this story.
Wait a minute. I just have to
Okay.
ask you one question, Bonnie. Are you the uptown girl that he refers to?
Oh, yeah, Mama.
Oh my gosh. I'm telling you that I didn't know anything about that part of your life before.
Oh, yeah, that's me. I am the uptown girl.
Yeah. Uptown girl.
Uptown girl,
In
you've
the
been
Jag with
driving
the
in your
Basset Hound
Jaguar.
running. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Okay, I know this has nothing to do with the topic, but, I've been accused of that before. Okay, here's an Eagles story, just really quick. So I'm doing this show, this rock and roll show, and the
don't
whole
know
show
what's
was
happening.
with the Eagles, okay? And we ended up, kind of having to cut some of their song, and it was Peaceful, Easy Feeling. So they came in to hear it, and we're in the editing room, and Glenn Fry and Don Henley are standing behind me. We push the video, and they're hearing the music, and it's the shot starts on like the sun, and then it pulls out, and you see this whole like cactus scene in the desert. And Glenn Fry says to Dawn, "Fucking baby suicide." And I say to our PA, who was like a rock and roll groupie, I go, "Oh my God." And she goes, No, that's good. Everything they say is the opposite.
Wow.
Wow. I just want to say to all our listeners who sometimes feel like I cut off Bonnie too early, that's what happens when I don't.
Wait, you don't think that was a good, funny story? Fucking baby
That's a great
suicide?
story.
It's a really good story.
It's a great story.
It sounds like not the baby suicide and the fuck part, but the idea of saying everything the opposite just sounds like a Sesame Street episode with Elmo on a silly day.
Yeah, I love that Glenn Fry and Don Henley, for them, every day was opposite day.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
a group of people that have spent too much time together on the road, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they just say, yeah.
Wow.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, Bonnie. Hey,
Shabbat
Tony Anita
shalom.
Hull, you're up next. Tell us about the time you traveled with Supertramp in the 80s.
Pass. I want to pass. I'm not following that story.
There's no passing.
I drive
Fucking
a
baby
Toyota
suicide.
Yaris. I drive a Toyota Yaris and talk to my phone. Pass.
You drive a Toyota Yaris?
Yes.
I never heard of that kind of car, a Yaris. What is
I'm
it named
passing.
after?
You can't pass.
Well, Tony, I'll tell you something about you. Last week, you told us about watching the binging on the Babysitters Club
Yes.
series, right?
Yep.
Well, I'm happy to inform you that my 7-year-old daughter just started watching that show, and she
Thank
agrees
you.
with you that it's terrific. So you guys are going to have something to talk about next time you see each other.
See, I use an air fryer. Sad existence.
Oh,
Move
I
on.
forgot about the air fryer.
Yeah.
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 See,
My
if
God.
Bonnie
Life-changing.
if Bonnie had an air fryer, she'd use it. She would drag it behind her to get the dog to run.
Yeah. Who wants a French fry? Who wants a French fry? Now, if you had an air Glen fryer, that would be something.
Ooh, that was clever.
You're welcome, everybody. All right, so Tony, you're passing for this week. You won't be
She
off.
can't pass.
You won't be off the hook next week, young lady.
Okay. I'll come up with a good story to tell.
Just tell us what's new. All right, Paula, what else?
Adam, I have an auction.
A what?
I have an auction item. I'm so excited about this. It's from Pete Seeger, and I was able to get my hands on this. Pete Seeger, for those who don't know, was a singer, songwriter, and a 5-string banjo player. He was also an activist. He sang on street corners, in migrant labor camps, in union halls. He sang in schools, churches, and concert halls. And he used to throw his head back and sing songs of protests and songs of laborers from all over the world. So I have for auction right now a piece of plaster. One time when Pete Seeger was singing, he stood too close to a wall, and when he threw his head back, he knocked a chunk out of the wall. And I have that chunk of plaster that Pete Seeger's head knocked out of the wall when he was singing. And so it's an online auction, and so let her rip.
So just to be clear, we're talking about folk icon Pete Seeger accidentally brained himself on a wall and broke off a chunk of plaster, and you are auctioning off that piece of plaster.
Yes, yeah. Remember how he used to, he would throw his head back like a basset hound almost. There was a hound quality, except for it was joyous. And, sometimes his spatial awareness wasn't all it should have been, and so he knocked a chunk out of the wall. And I have that chunk of plaster right here with me. I was able to acquire it.
From where?
I get a lot of stuff from Don't Ask Acquisitions.
Yeah. See, the very name of of Don't Ask acquisitions has always made me question the veracity of the claims of these artifacts. But I would say that it's a pretty cool.
This is, you can see, if you look at a picture of the back of Pete Seeger's head, you can see where the back of his head hit this chunk and just knocked it right out of the wall. It's still a little bit dusty. A little bit breaks away when you touch it. So I'm trying to touch it as little as possible because I know that we're going to have a lot of bidders here.
Yeah, I can't imagine who wouldn't bid on that.
Yeah, it's a fantastic artifact, and I'm really excited to have it. I love Pete Seeger. So anyways, we look forward to seeing the first of the online bids. And Adam, I also have a word. I'm full of so many things
Well, you have a
today.
word every week, Paula. I mean, that's exciting, but I'm expecting it.
Well, don't take it for granted, Adam. There might be a week where I don't have a word, but I do this week. I'll tell you something. Listening to this show should be worth a college credit. So this week's word is inveigle.
I love that word.
It's a great word. It's a verb that means persuade someone to do something by deception or flattery. Here, I'll use in this sentence. Trump tried to inveigle Comey's loyalty to him by telling him that Comey was almost as famous as Trump, which the president believes to be a compliment. So let me pop inveigle into my vocabulary song, and soon it'll be in use in my daily conversation. Here we go.
All right.
Wait. Sorry. Oh. All right. Oh boy. Here we go. Let's see. This week's word is inveigle. It's a verb that means persuade someone to do something by deception or flattery. I love you, Mom. Will you buy me a new phone battery? Last week's word was revivify. It's a verb that means give new life or strength to someone or something. It happens when you eat a ring ding. The week before that, we had parlous. It's an adjective from old use or humor. It means dangerously uncertain, precarious, like a maskless idiot with a virus. Going back before that, we had incommodious. It's an adjective that means causing discomfort or inconvenience, like when the meter maid doesn't show any lenience. And not long ago, we had casuistry. It's a noun that means the use of clever but false reasoning. It's not wrong to eat meat if you use seasoning. Let's never forget gallimaufry, which I pronounced wrong until nobody James Hyder corrected me. It's a noun that means confused jumble or medley of things. Hodgepodge, who's podge, hodgepodge. Adam doesn't think my song is replicable, but I do.
All right.
I do.
Yay.
Wow, that was
Bravissimo.
quite a rendition of your vocabulary
That's
song
a
there,
brainful.
Paula.
That is a brainful right there. That
Yeah, you really did bring it all to us. And
that's
with
a lot of words. I especially enjoy the vocabulary part of the show.
Oh, look, it's our favorite hand puppet, Mrs. Culpepper. Welcome onto our show.
Wow, thank you so much, Adam Felber. It's so lovely to see you.
I know you've been shacking up at Paula Poundstone's house all this time. How has that been?
She tries to inveigle me all the time. She'll say, your dress is looking so lovely, Mrs. Culpepper. And then she'll say, will you sift a litter box? Well, I won't do it. I do not enjoy the litter box chore, I'll tell you that. First of all, where my ruby sateen dress is not made for sifting litter boxes. It's made for being seen out in the community, in the neighborhood.
Oh, like when you and your husband, the captain, step out on the town.
Well, we don't do that anymore, Adam Felber. There was a...
No, not during the coronavirus, of course not. But as soon as that's over, the two of you can go cut a rug again.
We will not be able to go dancing after the stay-at-home order and the absence of the coronavirus. Captain Culpepper is absent to begin with.
Absent?
He's deceased, Adam Feldman. He's not with us.
Oh, dear God. You know what? On some level, I knew that. I feel like you've told me this before at some point.
I have.
Well, I apologize. It's insensitive of me to misremember and constantly ask after your late husband.
Well, frankly, it is a painful memory, but he left us as a result of a terrible thing, tyrotoxism.
Poisoning by dairy or cheese.
That's correct. It was very, very sad, a difficult memory.
It was probably the Havarti that hacked him.
It was the Gouda that got him, Adam. It was the Gouda. It was the Gouda that got
My
him.
mistake, Mrs. Culpepper. That's
No
really
problem there. No problem.
Yeah. All right.
Hey,
Well,
Adam, speaking...
yes, Paula? Don't even know
Speaking
what
of
I'm doing
brilliant
here.
minds, hello, it is I, French Trump, announcing to you nobodies that I have indeed read my briefing papers and will demonstrate my knowledge of the Russians at another French Trump presidential press conference mini podcast that drops each week on Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time and 2 p.m. Pacific Time. There is a 3-hour time difference, which I calculated with new computer and new scratch paper because I am a very stable genius.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. We always do look forward to those weekly press conferences. You really show the media a what for.
It's very informative. I dodge all of the media traps.
you are the best of the crap dodgers. Oh, my Lord. Okay, coming up, Dante began the Inferno with these lines. In the middle of the journey of our life, I found myself astray in a dark wood where the direct way was lost. Getting lost isn't fun, especially when you're headed for the Inferno. How to master spatial orientation, that's coming up when we return on Nobody Listens to Paula Poundstone.
We all want to do the right thing to keep our bodies healthy in the long run. Well, frankly, I wish I didn't have to, but even if we try really hard to eat kale salads and drink green smoothies, we're still most likely not getting all of the essential nutrients we need on a daily basis, even after eating kale. Enter Ritual, the obsessively researched vitamin for women. Ritual's essentials have the nutrients most of us don't get enough of from food, all in their clean, absorbable forms. No shady additives or ingredients that can do more harm to your body than good. 2 easy-to-take capsules provide 9 nutrients you need to support a strong foundation for your health. So
9?
There's 9 nutrients that are right in there. You know,
Wow.
it's a capsule. So if you look carefully, you can count all 9 of them. So I started taking Ritual, and honestly, I would have to do a study to know for sure. I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg. Did I start taking Ritual and then feel like I had enough energy to exercise? I kind of think so. And they have a little thing inside each bottle that has a minty smell to it, so they don't, you're
Right.
not like, you don't open the bottle and go like, ha, how you do with
Right, because
most.
a lot of vitamins have that fishy smell to them.
Yeah, in fact, some vitamins have a fish right in there, but not Ritual.
They shouldn't have a fish
Yeah,
in
you
there.
just, sometimes you open up vitamins and it's like, it's an aquarium. But this.
Now, you could be mistaking your vitamin bottle for a thing of sardines or something.
You know what? I've made a terrible mistake.
Yeah. Well, Ritual is traceable and transparent. For obsessive label readers, all of Ritual's vegan-friendly, that means no ring-dings, sugar-free, non-GMO, gluten-free, and allergen-free ingredients, and their sources are out there for the whole world to see, and Ritual is delivered. A subscription is easy to start and it's easy to snooze. It's only $1 a day to have all the essential nutrients your body needs delivered every month with 0 strings attached, which is helpful because you don't want a string hanging out of your mouth after you swallow a pill.
No, especially not with a fish on the end of it. Better health doesn't happen overnight, and right now, Ritual is offering our listeners 10% off during your first 3 months. Fill in the gaps in your diet with Essential for Women, a small step that helps support a healthy foundation for your body. Visit ritual.com/Paula to start your ritual today. That's 10% off. Speaking of healthy, that's a healthy chunk of change. 10% off during your first 3 months at ritual.com/Paula. Mo, get away from that. Mo, no. Oh, Jesus.
Paula, are you okay?
I think I am. On this day in unremarkable history, ventriloquist Edgar Bergen said, "Lip schmips, it's radio."
Thank you, house band Matt Evans.
Thanks, Matt. That sounded great.
Yeah.
Adam.
Yes.
We got our first bid for the plaster that Pete Seeger knocked out of the wall with his head when he threw his head back to... Oh, man, you won't believe who this is from. Wilbur Ross, the Secretary of Commerce.
What?
Yes. He's bid $1,500. The online bid for this piece of wall plaster broken off by Pete Seeger's head when he threw his head back to... It's Wilbur Ross. He's the U.S. Commerce Secretary. We also found out in November of 2017 through the Paradise Papers, the leaked electronic documents relating to the offshore investments, that Secretary Ross had financial ties to a shipping company whose clients included a Russian energy company co-owned by Putin's son-in-law and Venezuela's state-run oil company. This
Doesn't
guy
prove anything.
has made a bid of $1,500 online. Well, I guess, thank you, Wilbur Ross.
Yeah, it's surprising. I wouldn't think of him as a huge Pete Seeger fan. I have a couple of questions about it, Paula.
Sure.
Number one, do we know what song Pete Seeger was playing when he bashed his head on that wall?
No, I don't know that. I mean, it could be, he sang so many songs. He helped to write, arrange, or renew songs that have become synonymous with the struggle for justice. Wait a minute. Here we go.
What?
Now we're talking.
What? Okay.
We got another bid. Oh, thank you. Simon Houdendorn, a nobody, has bid $1,600 on the chunk of plaster, and it's a good-sized chunk, by the way, that Pete Seeger knocked out of the wall when he threw his head back singing, and we don't know which. It could have been If I Had a Hammer. It could have been Where Have All the Flowers Gone. It could have been We Shall
Overcome. Sure.
Yeah.
How about Michael Row the Boat Ashore? Did he ever do Michael Row the Boat Ashore?
He did do that. I mean, he sang that song a lot, and so it could have been Michael Row the Boat, like that. It could have been like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Mo, get away from there. Mo, stop it. Mo, no. Oh,
no.
Damn it.
Oh.
Jesus.
Did Mo turn on your treadmill again?
She did. Do you see what I mean? She's been doing a lot of stuff like that. Mo, all right, move. Go get that litter and pull me to the urgent care. Oh my God.
So, Paula, I hear that you have some trouble with directions.
You know, Adam, I have gotten lost my entire life. I can be going somewhere. I've been many times before. It doesn't matter. My daughter Allie could give me directions in the car when she was a toddler. Now, do you think that's a thing? Is there something about my brain that makes it like that?
I've always wondered that too, because Paula, as you and I have discussed, I have a really good sense of direction. I can point north virtually wherever I am. So,
yeah. Well, you
can
do it when you're with me, because I can't contest that it is or isn't north. So that's cheating.
Well, you trust Tony Anita Hall, don't you? She can back me up on that. She's got a pretty good sense of direction too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we have a the very person here who can answer these questions. Dr. Giuseppe Iaria is the director of Neurolab, a cognitive neuroscience laboratory located at the University of Calgary. He's an associate professor in the Department of Psychology, a member of the Hotchkiss Brain Institute, and the Alberta Children's Hospital Research Institute. His research focuses on investigating the behavioral and neural mechanisms responsible for the human ability to orient and navigate in spatial surroundings. Please welcome Dr. Giuseppe Iaria.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Welcome,
much
Doctor.
for being here.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so we're so glad you're here, and I want you to know, sir, that I am facing left right now.
And I am facing west.
So is there something, Giuseppe, about my brain that makes me keep getting lost?
Well, to answer this question, Paula, I would need to know, have you always been like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Since the day I met her. And it's
From
been almost
childhood.
20 years now. Yeah.
I mean, since you were a child or when you start driving, you probably did have some difficulties in finding your way around as well. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when
Yeah, so-
driving, you just get further lost because you get farther away quicker.
I know people who actually drive on the highway for kilometers and miles, thinking they're going the right way and they're going to the opposite way.
Yeah.
So it is a
wow.
thing. It is a thing.
So it's a thing.
Yeah, it is
As
a
you-
thing. It is a thing that we have discovered like about 10 years ago. It's a thing that is called developmental topographical disorientation. It's a very, very complicated word, scientific words. We refer to that to DTD, which I don't even know if it's easier to pronounce. But so it's a condition that we have described about 10 years ago, as I was saying. People have completely full capacities in terms of cognitive functions. They don't really have any attentional problems or memory problems, as someone may point out to you. But they do have a lifelong history of getting lost, even in the most familiar surroundings. So
Really?
we have people who get lost in their own houses.
Wow. Paula, do you ever get lost in your house?
I have not gotten lost in my house, but I went across the street. I've lived in this house where I live now for 17 years.
Okay.
And or maybe 18 years now. I went across the street, literally across the street one time to visit a neighbor. And when I came out of her house, I could not find mine.
You're kidding me.
I mean, it didn't last for a long, long time. I mean, I stood there for a little while before I went, oh, that's it right there. But I really had to go through these steps to figure it out.
Yeah, you got
Wow.
disoriented. And so
That's exactly what
the reason
happened.
why this happened, Paula, is because when we in general, the people move within the environment, they form a mental map of where things are around them, okay? So it's not necessarily thinking about northwest, east. It's really thinking about where your house is with respect to the grocery store, with respect to the pharmacy, with respect to the bank, and so on. So the reason we do that is because it's easier theoretically to remember a visual representation of these things and how they are related to one another, rather than trying to remember all the pathways that we perform throughout the day. So it's called the cognitive map, and it's something we refer to, like as a mental map, and it's something that many people struggle with in terms of timing. Okay, so some people may take a little bit of time to become familiar with the place, and other people may take a very short time, like you, maybe, Adam. But at the end of the day, overall, everyone more or less creates a map in their mind of the most familiar place, except for those people, maybe except for Paula.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe I should have a smaller dwelling.
I don't think that's
Well-
the answer.
Or I should move to Polly Pocket's neighborhood. Maybe I just should have a smaller neighborhood. Now, I also find, Giuseppe, that when I get nervous, my sense of direction gets worse. Do you think, from this brain perspective, do you think that means that some chemical is being released at that time that is further complicating my brain?
Yeah, so let me talk about the brain because I'm a neuroscientist, right? So you're hinting about the brain and you want to get some information from there. So this ability of forming mental maps and find your way around relies on extended networks in the brain, a lot of regions. So there's not one specific regions, okay? There are a lot of regions from the front to the back of the brain that are involved in this very important skill. But there are certain regions that are a little bit more involved. So in large networks, these are what we call nodes, like hubs, right? And so one of these regions is very, very important for memory, and is a region within the middle part of the brain, what we call the medial temporal lobe, and it's called hippocampus. So this region is wonderful for memory function. It's very, very critical. It's also a region that is significantly affected by stress, anxiety, depression, right? So there are a lot of mental states that will affect that region, and therefore, yes, to answer your question, the anxiety and stress can aggravate things in terms of orientation and navigation.
So calm down, Paula, damn it. Calm down!
Yeah, that is exactly what happens. When I get to where I literally can't tell if numbers, like I'm trying to find a number of an address, I can't tell if the numbers are increasing or decreasing sometimes because I've been driving around lost for so long. And the cure for that is to pull over and cry.
Now, that's not really the cure, but let me ask you, Giuseppe, is there a cure? Is there a way to teach Paula to consciously train to create mental maps, or is this just a deficit that she'll never be able to fix?
Yes, no, there is a way. We're working on that, right? So, Paula, there is some hope, right? And so we have developed like a sort of a video game, like a program that is available on our website. We have a website. It's actually not as popular as your show, but a little bit popular. It's called gettinglost.ca. And so, if you go in there,
you can look that up.
Yeah, you can first of all, if you go on that website, you can find a variety of tests that tells you exactly what are your issues in terms of orientation and navigation, because not necessarily for everyone is somehow affected by orientation and navigation. So people may have different kind of other problems, right? But on the same website, we have made available right now the very first training program that we have developed. We have done a preliminary study just a few months ago, published in a very respectful journal, where we show that, if people take that, is a 2-week program, 45 minutes a day. We show that if people are consistently taking this program for 2 weeks, they significantly improve in their ability to form cognitive maps. And
really,
and this is important because cognitive maps are important for everyone, Adam. Aging has in fact an effect on cognitive maps. Sure. There are a lot of other issues that affect this ability, right?
It's surprising to me because it seems to me like these cognitive maps is something that people who don't have a problem with it do unconsciously. But it sounds like on your website, people are consciously learning how to do it. Does it ever become second nature?
Yeah, so there are two things. So there is the ability of forming a map, and so forming a map, it takes some time, right? So if you want to have a mental representation of 3 or 4 elements, like landmarks or places around you, that will probably take very little time. But usually our maps become richer and richer, right? So you may relate 4 or 5 spaces with one another, but then you add more details to it, right? So you had details, you had stories, you had memories, you had emotional memories, you had a variety of things. So forming maps and making very good, rich maps, it takes some time. But you're right that the using a map that is formed, it's something that's what you call it second nature, something that is very, very implicit, it's very automatic. And in fact, it takes like a fraction of a second to make use of a map in order to decide which direction to go in order to go somewhere that you have to decide to go, right? So it takes a fraction of a second where you realize, okay, I am here in front of this pharmacy. I have to go to the bank. Boom. You just reorient yourself because you recognize the pharmacy. You picture in your mind where the bank is with respect to the pharmacy, and boom, you go there. The decision to go that way, it will take really a fraction of a second. Then what happened is that on the way to the bank, you will kind of get confirmation about, your travel, and you say, oh yeah, that's fine, that's the right place. And then you notice things around, but your decision has taken just really a fraction of a second if you already have a map, right?
You know what? I'm so bad at this that when I was in between the pharmacy and the bank, I ended up taking 2 quarters by mouth per day with food. Instead of I almost choked.
Did you end up at a laundromat or something?
No, I went to the bank instead of the pharmacy.
Oh, I see.
It would be a different problem, Paula, if you go to the bank and ask for some medication, or you go to the pharmacy and ask for money. So that's will become a little bit of a different problem.
This is what I'm saying. This is exactly
Very
what
different
happened.
kind of problem.
2 quarters a day I was taking by mouth with food. Oh my gosh.
So you can cure Paula on your website?
I can try to cure Paula. I can spend like weeks with Paula. That would change more my life in a very positive way than her life.
Here's a technique, Giuseppe, that I use that maybe you could pass along, which is if I'm trying to go somewhere to to somebody's house for dinner, or to an audition, or to someplace where I don't know how to get there, and I get lost, I do a thing where at a certain point, I will call the person where I'm supposed to be going, and I'll say, look, I'm very, very lost. I'm gonna try for 15 more minutes. And if I can't get there, then I'm going home. And you know what? In all the years I've been doing that, only one time did I have to go home. But once I establish that I only have to go through this really difficult thing for 15 more minutes, it usually works out that I can find it. And so
motivation plays a big role into that, right? And seeing probably the end of the tunnel, right? So you really put some time on your behavior that it kind of makes you relaxing a little bit because you already have made a decision, right? So you say, well, I'll go home.
Right. I think that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. You relax.
I sometimes get lost on my hippocampus.
I've heard you get lost in the middle of a sentence, Paula.
It's happened.
Yeah. Now, Giuseppe, let me ask you. Yeah. Paula has kind of misplaced her hippocampus, it seems. Are there other problems that she might have that are related to that? Are there problems that tend to cluster around people who have this kind of spatiotemporal dislocation syndrome, or whatever we're calling it?
We haven't really found anything that is, and we have thousands of people on our website with, there is only one Paula Poundstone, okay? But there are a lot of people with similar symptoms like Paula. And so it's not, what we have found is not significantly related to anything else, because people will start, kind of speculating on memory problems or the reason why this has been described. I'm not smarter than any of my colleagues who have been studying this. It was really coincidental that we found this person, but these people got kind of mixed up with, the usual story of, oh yeah, you don't pay attention, you have to focus more, you're too distracted, blah, 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 right? This is absolutely not true. These people have no attentional problems. These people have no memory problems. This condition is not necessarily correlated with any other, cognitive decline later in life. No, it's just a developmental condition as many others. And, and people take it differently, right? So Paula has developed her own coping mechanism. Other people have developed other strategies. Paula, I have known many people who will say, I would love to come and have dinner with you. Please come and pick me up. And so that works as well, and sometimes a cab works as well. But it's a little bit tiring when you spend your entire life, struggling with something that many people, take for granted, right? And so that's why we are trying to develop something that provides more of a reliable, tool, which is not necessarily a coping mechanism, but developing that ability, right? So that's an important thing.
Like some sort of exercise or something.
Yes. Yeah.
And you love exercise, Paula.
I do love exercise.
Well, Henry David Thoreau said, "Not until we are lost do we begin to understand ourselves," which means that Paula must understand herself very well indeed. Stay tuned to hear more about how to avoid getting lost. The cat of the week is Hazel from Niceville, Florida. Parents, you might feel like your kid's summer vacation started way early if you've been at home together, like mid-spring, and now actual summer vacation is here. Well, learning at home doesn't have to stop in summer. In fact, there's a real fun way to learn at home, and that is, we've said it before, KiwiCo. They deliver basically a science fair or an art class directly to your door. And even as an adult, I love this, Paula.
We have a mulch pile. My kids learned from that.
Yeah. Well, but if you want something a little more educational than even a mulch pile, the KiwiCo...
What could be more educational than a mulch pile, Adam? You
building an actual walking robot step by step, like me and my daughter Vivian did.
That does sound cool.
It was cool. And you know what? Especially during this pandemic, when kids want to default to binge watching TV and playing video games, having this tactile project to do with your kid is just a great thing. If you haven't done it yet, I recommend going to KiwiCo. We made the walking robot. We walked it all around thing, and we've got one more box that we're saving for next week.
Wow, that does sound cool. On the other hand, if you put the top of a pineapple that you cut off into your mulch pile, earthworms climb all over it.
This sounds like another good argument for KiwiCo. Paula, don't you want to tell people to do their part to encourage their children to be innovative and creative thinkers?
Do your part to encourage your children to be innovators and creative thinkers. They won't believe what they can build and accomplish with KiwiCo. And when they're finished, watch their confidence be as big as their smile. And they won't have worms all over. There are different crates for kids of all ages, so there's something for every kid on your list, and there's no commitment, so you can pause and use the pineapple lid with the worms anytime you want, or you could always cancel.
KiwiCo is redefining play with hands-on projects that don't involve mulch, but build confidence, creativity, and critical thinking skills. There's something for every kid or kid at heart at KiwiCo.com. Get 30% off your first month on select crates at KiwiCo.com/Paula. That's KiwiCo.com/Paula. And we're back with Dr. Giuseppe Iaria, unless he got lost on his way back to the microphone. You still with us?
Yeah, I didn't move.
How's your sense of direction, Doctor?
My sense of direction is pretty average, considering, which basically means it's really bad considering all the scientific knowledge I have.
Right.
Well, when you do your research, are you in a hospital?
I do both. I do research in a hospital. I do research in our lab on campus at the university. Hey, I also do research at NASA if you're interested in that, because astronauts have problems with orientation when they travel to space. So I do research on a variety of space. I do research at Children's Hospital as well, just to try to understand.
Because people get lost in hospitals.
Yes, Paula. But that is an architectural problem. So
That's
the
right.
reason why people get lost in hospitals is because, number one, government never really dedicate that significant amount of money to build a very nice hospital. Usually it goes in pieces, okay? So you have one building, and then you had another building, and then another building. And meanwhile, 50 years went by. And so, this complex, which is a medical center now it's called, not even an hospital anymore. So it has different buildings with different infrastructures, with different basement and stuff. So it's so normal to get lost in a hospital. So normal. Don't worry about that.
Plus, it's not even like trying to get through your neighborhood, because at least in your neighborhood, you look at this house and it's Betty's house, and you look at that house and it's Bob's house. But, you walk down the hallway in a hospital and people keep changing.
Yes.
If Betty and Bob would only stay sick, you'd be fine, Paula.
Exactly. Like, wait a minute. When I walked by here an hour ago, there was an old lady in that bed. What?
Well, that's a rule of thumb that I don't even need to consult a doctor about. Don't use people and animals as landmarks because they move.
Yes.
Oh,
and even also
man.
cars. I will.
Oh, yeah. I'm parked beside the red car. Yeah, I guess that's not a good idea.
Hey, let's get into. Are there gender differences? You know, there's that stereotype that there's two stereotypes. There's stereotypes that women get
There's
lost
thousands
easily.
of stereotypes.
Yeah.
There's only two in the world, Paul.
I would
Millions.
venture there's millions
These
of
are the
stereotypes.
two. These are the two about directions. One is that women get lost much more easily, which might be, I don't know. And the other is that men refuse to ask directions, which I think is probably true.
Yeah. It is one of the millions of stupid stereotypes. Yeah.
Okay.
Because the reason for that is that with being a woman or a female or being a man or a male, there are other things that come out with that. Okay. So when you think about genders, it just doesn't tell you anything. It doesn't really tell you that much. Right. So it's too much of a big category. Right. So there are a lot of people who study gender differences in orientation and navigation, and we did it too in our lab. We do it, but we try to dissect that specific orientation skills into different skills that we know they, being one gender or the other may actually play a critical role. So women are, wonderful in remembering landmarks. They can recognize landmarks very, very well.
Okay.
Men are really good at metrics. They remember distances and stuff. But when it comes to orientation and navigation, it's so complicated in terms of different strategies that you can use to find your way around that it's really limiting to think in terms of gender. So when you think about, orientation, you think about what kind of strategies do you use for orientation? Do you have a bias in using landmarks, right? So a bias, for example, is a more interesting, more important element to talk about rather than gender. Because if someone has a bias in using landmarks instead of remembering left and right body turns, well, then the place where that person lives or tries to find his or her way around, it makes a difference, right? So gender, no. It's like, it's too much of a big concept, and it doesn't really help people to understand what really the differences are in terms of orientation skills.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. That's a really interesting answer. Now,
plus with so many malls, with stores, closing down or going belly up in malls, that's another reason why landmarks don't always work too.
Yes.
It's up near the Hello Kitty is about as effective as near the red car.
Yeah.
Well, no, because I'd say stores tend to stay put a little bit longer than vehicles, Paula.
Not nowadays, no.
That's true. A lot of stuff is closing.
Yeah, but when you have, Adam, 25 stores that sell clothes all around you, that's our brain is challenged in trying to remember where is that specific one? Where did I see that specific, pants?
Right.
And
Yeah.
stuff.
When I'm walking and someone is driving and they pull over and ask me for directions, I feel so bad for them. I'm just like, you are the unluckiest.
So what do you tell them?
I use every now and then, if it's something really simple, I can eke out a clear answer. But a lot of times I say, I'll be walking just a block from my house, and they'll ask me directions, and I go, you know what? I don't live around here.
I knew that.
Yeah, no, that is asking me for directions is really, really sad. I was one night, I just been working at Wait, Don't Tell Me, and a couple that had been at the show came up to me on the street outside the show, and they said, and I've been doing that job for 17, 18 years.
A long time.
And so somebody comes up to me and they wanted to know if I knew a good place to eat. And I said, I only know one place to eat in Chicago. And it was the Italian Village, which is right across the street.
From the Chase Bank Auditorium, yes.
Right. It's right across the street from where we tape Wait, Don't Tell Me, which is why I know where it is. And so I described to them how to get to it. and they say, thank you so much. That's so nice of you. We're going to go there right now. And they turn and they walk in the opposite direction from me. I turn the other direction, going back to my hotel. And then I realize I'm disoriented and I can't find my hotel, which means I just gave them the wrong directions. So
Wow.
I turn around and I run and I run, and I'm wearing clunky shoes, and I run and I run and I yell, hey, people who just asked me for directions, like, because I didn't know their names. I'm like, hello, hello. And finally I get them to stop, and I make my way all the way up to them, and I go, okay, it's a really good restaurant, but it's around here somewhere. I'm not sure where. And then I figured out. But
Paula,
yeah.
did you have any siblings or any of your parents who had the same problem?
Not to the best of my knowledge, but one of the things
But nobody in that family has seen each other in years. They got separated.
Yeah, it's not been intentional that we don't get together. You
just got lost.
We have reunions every year. Just no one has been able to attend. Yeah.
Giuseppe, what about animals? I mean, I'd imagine if there was like a Canadian goose that had this kind of dysfunction, if they lose sight of the other geese, they're never going to make it to the migratory grounds.
Yeah. So some animals live in a little bit of a simpler life. They go stimulus response behavior, right? So they kind of know what to do. They hunt for food. They usually go the same paths. They live in the same neighborhood. The problem is, when we invade their territories, right? So they do get disoriented. That's why here where I live, we have some bears around from time to time and came down to garbage, cans and stuff, because they do get disoriented.
Where do you live, Giuseppe?
I live in Vancouver and in BC, in British Columbia.
Well, that explains the accent.
Oh, yes.
No, it doesn't.
Well,
when you said that there were bears around sometime, I thought for sure you lived near Dolly Parton, because
but
there's
you know
bears.
what? In Italy, there is a beautiful park in Abruzzo. It's a national park where we have bears there too, right? So it's very, very beautiful.
No, I didn't know Italy had bears.
Yeah,
Europe has bears.
Yeah, but not Italy. They stop at the border.
Yeah.
They don't stop them at the. How do you stop bears at the border?
No, bears just stop at the border. They're nervous about Italy. Wow. No, I never thought of Italian bears.
Yeah. They're gorgeous. As you can imagine, they're gorgeous. So.
You know what? You can always spot an Italian bear. It's the one whacking the other bear on the shoulder when it talks. A little Italian.
That's exactly how you do it.
You have such a great accent, Giuseppe.
Oh, thank you. I have to say I never really made an effort to try to hide my accent. Like I'm really proud of it.
Yeah, you should be.
I was stereotyping you the whole time. I thought this guy is like this really handsome Italian guy speeding around in a Ferrari over there in Italy. And now it turns out you live in Vancouver? Is that what you said?
Yeah, and then, Paula, you haven't seen me, so you can say I'm handsome. Second, I'm an academic. Ferrari for us is not part of our job description. So, yeah. You have the wrong picture, but I like it, so you can keep it in your mind.
It's my map. It's my map of stereotypes. That's what I'm using.
So, Giuseppe, one more time, what's that website for people to go to?
It's gettinglost.ca.
Gettinglost.ca, CA being for Canada.
Oh, wait, I have to ask you guys one more question. You know how we've talked about these varying degrees of ability with directions and landmarking and map in your head? Okay, do any of you remember getting lost in a department store when you were a kid?
Getting lost? No, I don't think so.
You never did? That was like a regular part of going to the department store with my mother. I was always getting lost. And don't you remember when they used to call out over the PA? They'd say, like, we found like a little boy with a blue shirt and...
Yeah.
Yeah, that was me.
Wow, you were the little boy in the blue shirt?
No, here's what I was. Okay, so if something like that happened, and in retrospect, I understand, I think it would scare her. And her reaction to being scared was she would get mad. So And I did. I got lost almost every time I was in the store with my mother. But once I realized that I turned around and she wasn't there where I thought she was, now I had to do like duck and cover so that I didn't get discovered by the department store employees.
Okay.
Right, I had to get to my mother before the department store found me, because if they announced over a PA that I had been lost, that would be, I would be in big trouble. Yeah. So it was such a...
So your question wasn't really a question so much as
I thought for
an
sure...
entree into telling this story.
No, I thought for sure that would bring back such visceral memory, because maybe adults don't get lost the way I do, but kids get lost, don't they? So
Yes.
how could none of you have ever been lost in a department store? That's insane.
Well, we had the place where I grew up, Paula, had a department store. It was only one room. So the only department store in the village in the south of Italy. So that would have been a little bit more challenging to get lost there.
Oh, well, that
I agree
explains
with you.
it.
I agree with you. Like, kids get lost in department stores. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that mystery is now solved.
My son got lost at Disneyland once. We just turned around and he wasn't there. And I was looking, we were near the water at that lake thing where the Mark Twain paddle boat goes. And we're literally peering over the edge, looking into the water, thinking that he had fallen in. And,
Oh, my God.
we hadn't really moved into panic mode yet. And so it didn't last very long. Within, I don't know, a minute or so, a security guard comes up to me and he has my son by the hand. And I have no idea how they knew that I was his mother or how he directed them to where we were. I don't know. But the guy comes up to me and I said, oh, thank you so much, of course, you know. And he takes a sticker and he slaps it on my son's back. And he says, write your phone number on that sticker. Because apparently that's a technique they use there, because so many kids get lost. And that way there you can call the parents. And so I never asked him, like, how did you manage to get where we weren't? Did you know you were where we weren't? Were you deliberately go? I don't think I ever asked him, because I got distracted, because as I'm writing the phone number down on his back, my daughter Allie says to me, Mom, that's not your number. So I haven't seen that lovely boy since. He was a great son, though, and I'm glad I had him for a while. So Giuseppe, it's because your department store was small. Not a lot of departments in it?
No, I grew up in a village with one room department store, one cafe, and a post office and a tobacco place. That's it.
Well, wait a minute. Then how can you be a person who studies people getting lost?
Well, because I was fascinated. I went to university, and I was in psychology and neuropsychology later, and neuroscience, and I was fascinated by the difference among people in terms of orientation skills. We talk about your case, Paula, and it's a significant case. But the interesting thing about orientation and navigation is that there is a huge variability in how people find their way around, and it's difficult for many people, even if these people do not have an orientation problem. And so I found it was very interesting for me to try to explain how the brain accounts for this variability, right? And so that's basically the core of my research, right?
Got ya.
Wow.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Iaria, for getting us pointed in the right direction about navigating in spatial surroundings. And now we're going to take that information and run it through the old Poundstonator. Paula?
All right. House band guitarist Matt Evans, if you could give me a little background music, I'll tell you what I learned. It's Giuseppe to the rescue. This was so helpful. I'm going to go on the gettinglost.ca website and find the exercises that can reduce my chances of getting lost on my way to the Hippocampus Activity Center if I should ever attend Hippo University. I used to think I was the only person who could lose the Indy 500 because I had to pull over and ask directions at the 400. Almost every set of verbal directions I've ever been given when I pull over begins with, okay, make a U-E wherever you can. It turns out it's not just me. I imagine the Get Lost support group was useless until they stumbled on the Invite a Map Brain theme, but it really took off after that. Hansel and Gretel, by the way, were fabulous keynote speakers at the first annual convention. Their When Breadcrumbs Aren't Enough speech brought the house down, which was too bad because that house was a landmark for many attendees who never made it home.
He is the director of Neurolab at the University of Calgary. Thank you so much for being on our show, Dr. Giuseppe Iaria.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. Have a lot of fun.
Coming up, we promised it. It's here. Mailbag. That'll happen when we return on Nobody Listens to Paula Poundstone.
Hey, what's up, you guys? This is your girl, Tammy Roman. Now, some of you may know me from a show called Basketball Wives, and others of you know me from Instagram, Official Bonnet Chronicles. I'm sliding through to tell you about my new venture, the Bonnet Chronicles podcast.
Real talk, hot tea. Nothing out of line with Tammy and Reggie. Real talk, hot tea. Bringing you the heat to the nth degree. It's the Bonnet Chronicles. The Bonnet Chronicles. The Bonnet Chronicles. The Bonnet Chronicles podcast.
That's right, people. I am going to be talking about all things, okay? Get into it. I plan on talking about love and relationships, hot topics, and every now and again I'll throw in a little BS just to keep it fun. And I hope you check in every week to hear what's happening with me and Reggie. It's the Bonnet Chronicles podcast.
Support for this podcast comes from BMO. Should these uncertain times alter your approach to managing Treasury cash? What 4 strategies can help optimize returns? Unpredictable times call for expert insights. Read the article, Corporate Treasury, Optimizing Liquidity in an Uncertain Environment by James Santoro, Managing Director, Liquidity Specialist. Get his expert take at bmocm.com/COVID. That's bmocm.com/COVID. Corporate Treasury. We work here.
Fun fact, the average person has 2 to 9 pounds of bacteria in their bodies. A fact that led to the 1934 novelty hit, Is That Streptococcus in Your Pocket, or Are You Just Glad to See Me? And we're back. Thank you, houseband Matt Evans. Paula, Tony Anita Hull has a ton of mail in the old Poundstone podcast mailbag, and we also have some reviews from Apple.com. So, Tony, it's time for you
Wait
to
a minute,
open up...
wait a minute, Tony, hold on just a second. Wilbur Ross has made another online bid. He's bumped the bidding on the piece of plaster knocked out of the wall by Pete Seeger's head. He has bumped it up to $1,750. So that's where we are. Wow. $1,750. That's an online bid. By the way, on December 19th, 2018, the Center for Public Integrity reported that Wilbur Ross failed to sell a bank stock holding within the required time after his 2017 confirmation and signed ethics documents saying it was sold. That guy, that Wilbur Ross, Secretary of Commerce, just bid $1,750 on the Pete Seeger plaster.
Well, Paula, I think it's fair to say that was for lack of a pen. If Wilbur had a pen, he'd have signed it away in the morning. He'd have signed it away in the evening, all over this land.
I think it's just. I think it's just like. It seems to me that he couldn't possibly have anything in common with Pete Seeger. I think he's just a guy who wants to take stuff,
He might be replastering a wall for all we know.
No, I think he just. Wait a minute. Sharon Silcox Sharon Silcox, a nobody, just bid $1,850. Thank you,
Wow.
Sharon Silcox. You know what? I don't mind saying it out loud. I don't want Wilbur Ross to have this. It's too cool. Good for you, Sharon Silcox. $1,850. Thank you. All right, let's do mailbag.
Yeah, as Pete Seeger might sing, this plaster is your plaster. This plaster is my plaster. Just wanted to get that out there. Although that might have been Woody Guthrie. Anyway, Tony Anita Hull, can you step up to the mic because it is time for mailbag.
Yes.
Mailbag. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Adam. I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's all right, Tony. What do you have in the hopper for us?
So
Hold on just a minute. Wait, how's it go?
Mailbag.
Is that it?
Yes, that's exactly it.
So what is it, Adam?
Mailbag.
There we go. Go ahead, Tony.
Mailbag.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yes, that's fine. Go ahead, Tony. What do you got for us?
Well, we're going to start with some iTunes reviews. So all 5-star. The first one is titled "The Best Podcast Ever." Paula has anal leakage in the mouth, and Adam is on every show. If Paula stopped talking, she would die. This podcast is like living in Paula's mind. It's almost all gibberish.
Wow. That we gotta get some part of that at least up at the website with the
almost all gibberish is a great pull quote.
Yeah, it's I like that. If we were gonna rename the podcast, I would call it Almost All Gibberish.
Yeah.
But no, we have some. Our interview segment is decidedly not gibberish. It's helpful information. I like to think of our podcast as a hootenanny of information and laughs.
That's great, a hootenanny. I would like to say that when it comes to calling us almost all gibberish, I feel responsible and proud of the almost part.
Oh, do you think you're in charge of the almost?
Yeah, I feel like that's my job around here. Tony, what else you got?
Another 5 stars titled "Trying to Write a Joke Here." I'm just a nobody, so why should I write a stupid joke for this review? Nobody's gonna laugh. All I can hope for is that when the time comes, I'm gonna die laughing from this wicked, excellent comedy. And when I am dead, there's gonna be an epitaph on my stone that reads, "It was the Paula that got him."
Oh, wow. That's great.
That is
reference to Mrs. Culpepper.
It's a tapestry of inside. Nobody listens to Paula Poundstone dirt. That was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. But, if you're writing reviews for the general public, maybe the inside jokes is not the way to go, huh?
Doesn't matter.
All right.
What did we learn? What did we learn from Seth Godin? We don't want everyone. We want.
I feel like we didn't learn anything from Seth Godin. I feel like he had a lot of good information and we put none of it into practice.
That's not true. He said, "Stay peculiar." Wait, Mo, no. Ah, damn it!
Oh, no. Did your dog just activate your treadmill again?
Yeah. Can you hear me? I'm not near the mic anymore. I'm in the closet. No, I'm not gonna throw that fucking ball for you. Bad dog.
While you get yourself composed again, Tony, what you got?
So now I'm gonna reach into the actual mailbag.
Okay. Mailbag!
There you go. The subject of this email was Campfire Girl Camp, Camp Latoli in Texas. Wohelo was bogus Native American for work, health, love. It was part of a song. We had s'mores. A girl in my tent regaled us with stories of her medical experiments on small animals with the aid of an easy bake oven. Love, Deborah I.
Wow. Well, that's all over the map right there, Deborah.
Yeah.
Wow.
What was the name of the camp again?
Camp Latoli.
Yeah, which is
Latoli, which is a fake Native American word for
taxidermy.
literacy, tolerance, and Lisa, who is the camp director.
It was a small camp. It's a very small
camp. Latoli. But no. We covered last week that Wohelo was a made up portmanteau, if you will.
Oh no,
Almost
I
an
didn't know
anagram.
that. Did we talk about that last week?
We did talk about it last week. It was never a Native American word. It means work. Yeah, we talked about it last week. Work.
Yeah, it's
health.
work, health, love.
Work, health, love.
Oh, but I never understood that it was a made up word. Oh, I feel like such an idiot now.
It might not be made up.
No, it's made up,
maybe.
Bonnie.
It's made up. It's
Yeah, woe, he, lo, which are
Does that make your childhood a
health,
lie?
Love are all English words,
Oh.
and the Native American languages didn't come from just taking the first two letters of each English
no,
word.
that's offensive.
No, but to be fair, in Bonnie's defense, and I can't believe I'm uttering that phrase, but in Bonnie's defense, it's conceivable that work, health, love could have been a mnemonic device to help people remember the Native American word Wohelo. It could have been that. It's not.
No,
but it could
wasn't.
have been.
No, it isn't.
No.
No. So
just
you're
saying.
mistaking a code for a language.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. What's up?
That's
what else?
That's why I went to camp ... dash.
A
it's a
Morse
code.
code based camp?
Yes. ...
dash, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Which,
All right, what does that
by
stand
the
for,
way,
Paula?
Wohelo. So many different cultures want. Well, by the way, what does that mean? Work, health, love. Why does anybody? And that's a good night word. It was. So, say your kids are little again, and you're tucking them in, right?
Oh,
and then
God.
you've turned the lights out and you've stepped out. Do you poke your head back in and go work, health, love? No, that's a weird.
Bonnie, when you were at
Work.
that camp, you had no idea they were saying work, health, love to you, right?
No. I just
All right.
thought
You thought it was a greeting like Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, which you had wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, we're not even opening up this can of worms. Oh, no, we're not.
With all your Jewishness, you had that wrong.
Yeah, I didn't.
No, you said Happy Saturday.
Well, it's a
And
somewhat
it's not
sardonic
Happy
comment.
Saturday. It means peace.
No, shalom means hello, goodbye, and peace.
You know what?
I looked it up. It means peace.
Mom,
Shalom
Dad,
means hello,
if you're
goodbye,
gonna
and
fight
peace.
like this, I'll just walk to school.
No, you're absolutely right, Paula. Tony, let's move on. Get us out of here.
I'm not spending weekends with either one of you. How about that?
Okay, wait. I looked up Wohelo.
Oh, thank goodness.
When?
I know.
Just now?
We've done this before.
No.
We covered
It's
this last
because
week,
I
Bonnie.
just
No,
the-
you know
the
what?
weather to see if it was Native American.
Bonnie's back at her summer camp, Camp
my
Deja Vu.
God.
No, it's a campfire. Campfire made up the word.
Yeah.
The
Yes!
campfire girl.
That's
the
what we were
campfire
saying.
girls.
Nobody doubted that except you.
When did you say it?
We did say it.
We said it
before.
earlier.
Oh, I was
While
busy
you were
looking
looking
up
it
the
up,
word.
I think. Yeah.
Shocking.
Tony,
You know what's
Tony.
interesting?
Shocking.
Tony, put your foot on the gas pedal and get us out of here.
Bonnie is a little bit hard of hearing, and I'm sympathetic to that to a point. But here's the thing. She also is almost always doing something else when you're talking to her. And then
Yeah,
she sort of
absolutely.
pretends like, oh boy, it's that, the follicle, the hair follicle where I hear it
My
fell
hair
down.
follicles are... My follicles are acting up tonight, so I couldn't hear you while I was learning how to juggle on the
Yeah.
internet.
Yeah. Meanwhile, she was over at CarMax getting another convertible.
Jaguar.
Thank you, Jaguar.
Yeah, I don't like CarMax.
Oh, good God.
That was
Tony,
the takeaway. That was the takeaway.
Tony, be Calgon. Take us away. What's next?
So, regarding Doug the intern, a lot of theories floating out there, but I have to say, one of our well-known guests who never showed up is involved in a lot of theories. So here's one of them. From a concerned nobody named Eric. Was Doug the intern investigating the whereabouts of Thomas Coyne? Do you think there's any connection between the two mysteries? Again, that's from Eric.
Very interesting. For those of you who haven't been following this, we've been accused of fabricating the life and death of Doug the intern to turn this into some kind of true crimes podcast that you have to listen to every week.
Which is not something that we would do. That's not something we would do.
It's not our style.
No, not at all. In fact, one of the things that Doug used to always say to us when he was an intern, and frankly, I found it insulting. He would say, you guys would pretend there's a death just in order to get listeners. And I used to say, no, we wouldn't. No, we wouldn't.
I remember you saying that to Doug. Anyway, so Doug died, and we are devoted to figuring out just who killed him. The police have ruled it a homicide, but I believe what this listener is doing is connecting Doug to Thomas Coyne, our guest from episode 3, the survivalist of this podcast, who never showed up and has been missing ever since. Yeah.
A lot of nobodies have been wondering if there's a connection between Coyne and Doug.
Well, it's certainly worth looking into.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, I feel so stupid. I was just about to say, Doug, could you look into that? And,
yeah. That makes me so sentimental, because remember all those days when we could just kind of toss a comment over our shoulder like, Doug, could you handle that?
Yeah, and he could. That was the amazing thing.
Well, he could, but most of the time he made Tony do it, of all people. Like, he wouldn't get to it, and Tony would have to do it. I remember how mad that would make Tony. The way that she'd stomp on the floor and go like, Doug, I'm going to fucking kill you. Okay. Remember that?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, that would happen a lot. Oh. Yeah.
Well, one of these...
I swear to God, Doug, I will beat you to death with Adam Felber's book if I have to.
Adam, you might want to be telling this to the police. I don't remember. That's not the sort of thing Tony Anita would ever say, Adam Felber. I will defend her in a court of law. I will go to the defense of Tony Anita Hull. She is a dear girl, and she would never do such a thing. I'll tell you what I think happened. Was one of the jobs we had asked Doug to do was to make sure that Bonnie was paying attention.
Oh, boy.
And that apparently...
Yeah. And we did learn a couple of weeks ago that Doug's last name was Burns. We've never gotten to the bottom of that strand.
That could just be a coincidence,
It could be, but Bonnie hasn't said a word about it.
Maybe she didn't notice.
You know what? I don't give a shit about Doug.
What?
That is so rude.
God.
I know.
Yeah.
I can't believe. Yeah. A lot
Tony,
of times
what else you got?
Sometimes when Bonnie's on with CarMax, she gets irritable.
Yeah.
Is that a clue?
Yeah.
What do you mean I need the undercoating? I don't want the undercoating.
No, that's Earl Scheib.
Oh, sorry about that. Tony, what else you got?
There's one more. One more for the about the
hunt.
Your favorite Adam, the 100th caller contest.
Oh boy. Great.
This is from.
Glad we stuck around for this one.
From a faithful nobody named Todd. Do we get to vote on who should win the 100th caller contest? Because clearly Winnie Rose Feynman wants and deserves to spend time with Adam after the game more than anyone else. She could use a new crock pot from Roger Federer's appliance store, even if it's slightly used, as it may help to appease her mother. Todd.
Wow, Todd.
Wow.
Todd, there's so many good points in this. I will say one thing.
No, there's so many bad points in this.
No, first of all, the way that we decide who wins the 100th caller contest, and I thought this was clear in the rules, is it's who calls in the 100th time.
After the 99th caller. Yes, that's clear.
Yeah, but
so no, Todd. Your answer is no.
Yeah, I mean, it may well be Winnie Feynman, and I hope that it is, because you're right, Todd.
Wait.
I think she would.
No,
It's not up to me, Adam. I'm just saying, this is like.
In some ways, I feel like it might be.
No, it's not up to me at all. But I will say that in terms of the crock pot, Adam owes Winnie a crock pot.
I do not.
She shouldn't have to use her win to get a crock pot for her mother. Adam borrowed her crock pot and never.
I didn't.
Gave it back. And I talked to Winnie a couple days ago, and they have had cold, unmixed casseroles for months.
Okay, I want to make a couple of points here. Number one, I never received a crock pot from Winnie. And number two, Paula, you and Todd are rooting for me to have to spend time with my stalker.
She's not a stalker. Todd, thank you so much for that that letter. I love Mailbag. I love knowing what the listeners are thinking. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd.
She's not a stalker.
She's totally a stalker.
Well, you know what? You guys, while we were doing the mailbag, another bid from Wilbur Ross came in. Wilbur Ross, he's made a bid for $2,000 to purchase this chunk of plaster that Pete Seeger knocked out of a wall behind him when he threw his head back, singing. It was possibly Irene Goodnight. It was possibly Talking Union. It was possibly waist deep in the big muddy. I just don't understand why Wilbur Ross would even want this. On November 7th, 2017, Forbes magazine reported that Ross inflated his net worth to be included in the magazine's annual, world's wealthiest list. Forbes also said that it looked like Ross had been providing inaccurate information since 2004. Why would a man like that want an artifact from award-winning singer Pete Seeger? Pete Seeger is in the Grammy Hall of Fame. He received a Kennedy Center honor, a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award, an award from the National Medal of Arts, a George Peabody Medal, and here I have this piece of plaster that he banged out of the wall with his head. I really don't want it to go to Wilbur Ross.
Well, I gotta say, Paula, it sounds to me like the answer to this question might be phrenology.
What?
Well, phrenology, the long discredited pseudoscience of measuring and bumps and dimensions of the human head to determine various things about the person inside that head. It strikes me as just the kind of pseudoscience that Wilbur Ross might subscribe to. It's inherently a racist pursuit. I imagine that Wilbur Ross might be a closet phrenologist, and he would like to get out a caliper and measure that piece of plaster to find out what Pete Seeger's head was like.
That is a far-fetched theory, but it's possible.
It's absolutely plausible, I think.
It's possible.
Sure as I'm sitting here, that's a phrenologist.
Adam, answer the phone.
What?
Answer the phone.
I want to talk about phrenology. I don't want to answer the stupid phone.
Answer the phone.
What?
Would you answer the phone?
Hello?
Hey, Adam, this is Mike Boom Boom Bonifant. I think you're right, man. I think that's exactly why Wilbur Ross wanted that Pete Seeger plaster from the. Yeah, he's a phrenologist. I think you're right, man. He's going to use his calipers and study the head of Pete Seeger. I think that's right. What the fuck's the matter with Paula Poundstone? What? You're right,
But thank you, Mike. But
such a bitch.
Hey, Mike.
Man, I don't know how you put up with her. I really don't know. And how do you know that's really the piece of plaster that Pete Seeger not? So wait a minute. He was singing like Michael row your boat, and then he hit his head on the wall, and she has the plaster. That's bullshit, man. That's ridiculous.
Well, apparently it's been verified by Don't Ask Acquisitions.
Don't Ask Acquisitions. I got some shit from them. They're really good.
Oh, yeah? So,
Yeah, I do.
So are you going to bid,
Hey,
Mike?
man, listen, I gotta go. I gotta go.
Okay.
Am I the 100th caller?
No, you're caller number 83 by my calculations.
Oh, man, so close. Oh,
Not really.
I can't wait to hang out with you after the game, Adam. You take care, man. You take care.
Take care, Mike. Take care, Mike. Wow, Paula. Whew. Well, we've been talking about getting lost this week, and I feel like I'm lost right now, but I'm hoping that our listeners aren't going to get lost on their way to the Poundstone product line.
Hey, Adam, wait a minute. Oh, I'm so happy. There is, oh, no, there isn't. Never mind. Ah, damn it. I thought there was another online bid, but there isn't. You guys, there's only a few more minutes for online bids. Please don't let Wilbur Ross have this chunk of plaster that Pete Seeger knocked out of the wall with his head.
Right. Now, Paula, do you have an online store that you want to tell people about?
I do. I'm so glad you mentioned it. My store is easy to find, by the way. It's at paulapoundstone.com. You can get the Poundstone pussy pillows, which are 4.5 by 5 inches. I've been saying the wrong measurements. Can you believe it? They're 4.5 by 5 inches. They're little pillows filled with catnip. There's a cat joke on one side, and on the other side, I'd be happy to sign it, to autograph it to your cat. And when you go online to purchase it at paulapoundstone.com, go to the store, and there's a little form there that you fill out. You put your cat's name in there, and I'm happy to sign it to your cat. And new to the website, by the way, are RX laughter videos. They're comedy videos that I made to help get people through the challenge of the coronavirus and the stay-at-home order. Featuring, by the way, my own workout videos. They're called Your New Best Workout Buddy. There's a series of them. There are 4 up there now, I think it is. And I figure people might enjoy working out with me more than they would enjoy working out with, well, professional trainers. And there you go.
Those videos, I've seen a couple. They're fantastic. And obviously the Poundstone Pussy Pillows are a great addition to any feline-friendly household. Now, we want to hear from all you nobodies out there. We can't do Mailbag without it. So if you want to enter our theme song contest or send us a succinct show description or just drop us a line, that address, one more time, is nobodylistens-to-Paula-Poundstone@gmail.com. Once again, that's nobodylistens-to-Paula-Poundstone@gmail.com. You can find me and Adam on Instagram, Facebook, and wait a minute! Another online bid for the Pete Seeger plaster chunk. This is from a nobody named Apple Butter. What are the odds of that? A nobody named Apple Butter has bid $2,500. Thank goodness this isn't going to Wilbur Ross. This is a chunk of plaster that came out of a wall that Pete Seeger hit with his head when he was singing. And for those of you who are not familiar with Pete Seeger, on August 18th, 1955, he testified before the House Un-American Activities Committee. He refused to take the fifth, and he refused to tell them with whom he associated. He told them that he loved his country and that it was improper of them to ask such questions. He said, "I'm proud that I never refused to sing to an audience, no matter what religion or color of their skin or situation in life. I have sung in hobo jungles. I have sung for the Rockefellers." And someone else later pointed out that he refused to sing for the HUAC. He was sentenced to a year in prison, but the conviction was overturned on appeal. Still, he was blacklisted for years. And we now have Apple Butter, one of our nobodies, has bid $2,500, outbidding Wilbur Ross, Secretary of Commerce, for this historic plaster chunk. Thank you so much, Apple Butter. Congratulations, Apple Butter. And if Wilbur Ross wants to come over with his calipers to get some data on Pete Seeger's cranium, I would say let him, because what's the possible harm? All right, that's our show. Wait a minute. No, it's not our show. You can find me and Adam on, I was saying, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We're all over the place. And check out our Facebook page at Nobody Listens to Paula Poundstone. That's our show. Nobody Listens to Paula Poundstone is hosted by Paula Poundstone and yours truly, Adam Lefelber. Special thanks to our guest, Dr. Giuseppe Iaria. And thanks to our house band, Matt Evans. Our show is produced by Paula Poundstone, Adam Felber, Bonnie Burns, Ken Lezebnik, Tony Anita Hull, and the late Doug the Intern. Mixing by Michael Hoagie, Starburns production by Land Romo. Thank you to former intern Doug. We really couldn't have done any of this without you, except these last few weeks when it's run really smoothly. Technical direction by Jessica Gutierrez. Transcription services for the show provided by Transcribe Me, a premier internationally used transcription service. Use code Paula Poundstone when placing your order at transcribeme.com to receive an expedited service.
That's our show for tonight. Won't somebody please listen to me?
Yeah, that was fun.
You
never got into phrenology?
No.
Yeah. Tried to divide the head into regions where thoughts happened.
Well, that's what Giuseppe does. Get into phrenology.
This head is your head. This head is from California.
Starburns Audio, a podcast network.